Hi students, very good evening. I hope you are all doing well and you listened to my previous lecture, and today I want to continue the yesterday's lecture on Paradise Lost. Let me share the screen first. I hope you are listening to the explanation of the poem with the text in your hands. Better, you have the text in your hands that enables you to and that enables you to understand the explanation or poem very well. And even if you can't get the meanings of some of the words in between, please don't worry and just try to grasp the overall sense of a few lines or line by line. Okay. So yesterday we have seen how um, all the fallen angels, after God created earth, have gone on to the earth and then tried to um, gain place beside the altars of God at many places, whom Milton refers as heathen gods or gods of heathen communities or heathens. And we could see that many mythologies, from many mythologies he refers, and how they were idol worshippers, okay, and accepting human sacrifices, and all those very with celebrating the religious ceremonies with pomp and glory, gold, and worshipping the idols of beasts. That is why they were called as bestial gods also. So this we have already seen. So all many chief angels have become the primary gods of the heathens, and then other small or minor uh, or not minor, but the angels who are lower in rank, of course, have also become gods, small gods besides. So the after the list, now we are coming to the moment when Saturn gave a call, and all the fallen angels have got out of the fiery gulf, and then they are hovering their wings, just awaiting at one place for the order of his, their master. Okay, and they just and when he actually shown the um, sign of what you call to arrange themselves, that is by lifting his spear. They We have seen how they were arranging themselves into different troops, and of course Milton has given us many similes, which are epic similes, to say that they are innumerable. Okay, so among the innumerable, these are some of the names of the angels who turned themselves to be the gods of heathens. And these and more came flocking. So now, poet, no, the Milton poet says that as described above, all these fallen angels and many others also came flocking. They have come together, but how are they? With looks downcast and damp. So they are not looking very, what you call, strong, and they are looking down because of the defeat. So they feel that they could not wage war properly with God, and that is why they got defeated. Yet such wherein appeared obscure some glimpse of joy, to have found their chief not in despair. So though they have downcasted their looks, and though they are filled with a kind of defeated spirit, and then they are of course gloomy, and of course they might be shocked with the height from which they have fallen, and also on on one side there is punishment, on one side there is defeat, and so they are feeling very damp. And then of course, along with these feelings there was a glimpse of joy also, that is invisible, to have found their chief not in despair. So, why they are happy? They are happy to see their chief, the leader, who is not in despair in spite of the defeat that they have met, and to have found themselves not lost in loss itself. And of course they were joyous to think again that of course, and we are defeated, but this is not the complete loss for us, which on his countenance cast like doubtful hue. So even Saturn's face is also exhibiting mixed feelings of despair, and of course the defeat, the pain of defeat, and also a little bit of joy or hope, which he is trying to gather in spite of all the miserable defeat that they had. And that glimpse of joy is also visible in the face of their leader. And looking at them, at his face, of course all these fallen angels also got that glimpse of joy onto their faces. But he, his wonted pride soon recollecting, with high words that bore some balance of worth, not substance, gently raised their fainting courage and dispelled their fears. So, after the great defeat that they have met with, of course, they were feeling low, but Saturn is a great leader who collects all his wanton pride, and then with boasting words, okay, which appear to be worthy words. And then he, with his speech, has gently raised the spirits, okay, gently raised the spirits of these fallen angels and their fainting courage. Of course, they seem to be now very covered, because now they are afraid of God. Their courage has gone. Yet Saturn is gathering their fainting courage, and then he tried to dispel, remove their fears. Then straight commands that at the warlike sound of trumpets loud and clarions, be upraised his mighty standard. So, with his big voice, okay, a warlike sound, which is like a trumpets, while when preparations of war goes on, we all know that a big trumpet will be, you know, beaten, where we will get a loud sounds, and then the clarions, which are like big horns, will be blown, so that we'll get a kind of music, which of course builds up the spirit of courage, and also the spirit to go forward and participate in the war, etc. So that proud honor claimed Azazel as his right, a cherub tall, who forthwith from the glittering staff unfurled the imperial ensign. Now he called upon one of his fellow angel, that is a cherub who was with him in the heaven, who is Azazel, who was a tall who was tall in stature. And when Saturn called him, immediately he came up with an imperial ensign flag, which full high advanced, shone like a meteor streaming to the wind. So when he uphold the ensign, it is reflecting like a meteor in the wind. Meteor, okay, with gems and golden laser, rich emblazed, seraphic arms and trophies, all the while sonorous metal blowing martial sounds, at which the universal host upsent a shout that tore hell's concave. And now, then Azazel came with the ensigns, and others also, they started playing the music and showing the trophies, and blowing martial sounds, warlike sounds. And then when the ensign is visible, they actually came into a war mood of war. And then they were amidst all this music, the war music, and the flying flags that were flowing in the wind, and they were let high, okay, like meteors. And then amidst all this kind of music and exhibition of flags and all, Saturn, of course, gave a big call, big shout, that the whole concave of the hell got resounded. And all in a moment through the gloom were seen 10,000 banners rise into the air. So when he gave this big sound, in a moment, even in the darkness of the hell, we all the fallen angels have upholded the banners with orient colors waving. See, orient is a big word, which of course is not, like dark, deep colors, not very what do you say, light and decent colors. We say light colors are decent, the orient colors are deep dark colors. So these actually orient colors are attached with the heathen communities. So Milton here says that the banners are with the orient colors, because Saturn is, of course, is the god of heathens. With them rose a forest huge of spears also. So with the banners, there were spears. All of them have raised their spears, shields in thick array of death immeasurable, and also shields and spears. These are the arms for the war. And anon they move in perfect phalanx to the Dorian mode of flutes and soft recorders. So when armies are going to the war, soldiers, of course, form into different battalions. In the similar manner, the fallen angels have themselves arranged themselves with kind of the battalions, while a kind of Dorian mood is like the war, like music is being flown of flutes and soft recorders, such as a raised to height of noblest temper, heroes old. Now here listening to the music, he is giving a comparison, a simile here, a metaphor, such as raised to the height of noblest temper, heroes old arming to battle, and instead of rage, deliberate valor breathed, firm and unmoved with dread of death to flight of foul retreat. Death, dread of death to flight or foul retreat, nor wanting power to mitigate and swage with solemn touches troubled thoughts, and say chase anguish and doubt and fear and sorrow and pain from mortal or immortal minds. So he says this is the influence of the music, how music works. When we are going to war, of course, the warriors, the soldiers should be ready to face any kind of situation, even if it is death. And then to face such a thing, or they should fight constantly in the battlefield without running away from that place. So, not, Milton here says such things should not happen, so that the music will keep on played, which keeps feeding the spirits of all the soldiers to remove any doubt, fear, sorrow, pain. And he says it is not only mortals but for immortals also. So the music is not only for mortals but for immortal minds also. So of course here angels fallen angels are also immortal minds. And of course, immortal means not only fallen angels, but angels, and then, of course, God also. And we know that in heaven, always there is a kind of singing going on, which is the praise of God. And of course, that is different. The music of heaven is different from the music in the hell, which is now going on, because this music is for raising the spirits of the fallen angels, so that they will not come out of the mood of war because of the defeat that they have faced of late. So Saturn wants them to be on the front of war always, as Saturn himself stated that his aim is only to wage war with God. And then, if doing good is the work of God, to doing bad is the work of Saturn. And whatever God will do, they will keep on destroying that. And that is how, of course, we can infer from the discussions that we had earlier, that God's plan was to create the Eden, but that was destroyed. And then, of course, God felt that let Adam and Eve leave Eden and then be or live on the earth. But there also, earth also is possessed by Saturn. And that is why, because of Saturn only, it we can believe, if we are in the Christian faith, it is believed that because of Saturn's influence only, human beings go on doing wrong things, or go on acting against God. So that is very important. We have to notice that. And now he says, now Milton is saying that Saturn is sole aim is to destroy whatever God has created or God is doing. And as part of that only, he seduced Eve. And then, even after they are living in earth, he did not let them to be faithful to God, because as we have seen previously, all heathen gods were worshipped by men because they disobeyed or unfaithful to God. And when God did gave them commandments, they did not follow the commandments as they are given, but they keep on wronging the belief of God, or faith of God that is there on the human beings. So as he wants all his fallen angels to continue this spirit of waging the war, doing bad, working against God, etc. So that is why this kind of music keeps going on. And then actually he says that from the music, what happens? They will get motivated to be on the war front. Thus, they breathing united force with fixed thought, moved on in silence to soft pipes that charmed their painful steps over the burnt soil. So now they are moving as if they are one. They are, one means they, you might have seen the march past. Okay, so like that they are moving with the sonorous pipes, while sonorous pipes are being blown, so that they will forget their pain that is, while walking on the burnt soil. And now advanced in view, they stand, a horrid front of dreadful length and dazzling arms in guise of warriors old, with ordered spear and shield. So now they are looking like the battalion of armies of old warriors. In history we have many instances where a war arrangements are described. So in all mythologies we have. So he just Milton is giving that if to just compare how this army is now standing, okay, on the words of Saturn. He says that it is like any army of any warrior that is there in the history. Now, arranging themselves like that, what are they doing? Awaiting what command their mighty chief had to impose. So they are waiting for the commandments of their chief, that is Saturn. Uh, yeah, chief, that is over the chief had to impose. He, through the armed files, darts his experienced eye, and soon traverse the whole battalion views their order due. So perhaps they did not stand in but what do you say, perfect order. So Saturn just had a glance of all the battalions, and then he of course gave the orders to for the perfect battalion, and their visages means faces, and stature as of gods, their number last he sums. So he looks at them, all their faces, and of course, who were like gods previously, but now they are no more like gods. And now he knows their number also, though it is innumerable for us, the human eye. And now his heart distends with pride. So, looking at his army, so he takes pride to look at that. And hardening in his strength, glories. So he actually glorifies his own strength. And for never since created man met such embodied force as named with these. So he says that in the whole history of humanity, we may not find such a kind of great army, okay, which could merit more than that small infantry war down by cranes, though all the giant brood of Phlegra, okay. This is the battalion of the Greek mythology, okay. He is again giving the what you call the comparisons. Though he says that within the human history, there may not be any army like Saturn's, yet he tries to give us some comparisons here. With the heroic race were joined that fought at Thebes and Ilium, on each side mixed with the auxiliary gods, and what resounds in fable or romance of Uther's son begot with British and Armoric knights, and all who since baptized or infidel jousted in Asparamont or Montalban, Damasco or Morocco or Trebizond, or whom Bizerta sent from Afric shore, when Charlemagne with all his peerage fell by Fonder. These are all accounts of actually the British fighting with other countries. So British actually now is a Christian country, and then the Christian country fighting with the heathen armies. And of course, the Saturn's army is being compared to the heathen armies only. And Africa, Morocco, Damasco, and all these places. So he says that thus far these beyond compare of mortal prowess, yet observed their dread commander. So he says that of course we can compare to these many of all put together, perhaps all armies put together, with the armies which waged war with England, of the armies of different nations, all put together, of course, can be the army of Saturn. And he observed all of them, such innumerable forces are now observing their commander. He, above the rest in shape and gesture, proudly eminent, stood like a tower. So, among all the fallen angels, Milton says that Saturn, of course, is standing like a tower. His form had yet not lost all her original brightness, nor appeared less than archangel ruined, and the excess of glory obscured, as when the sun, new risen, looks through the horizontal misty air, shone of his beams, or from behind the moon. This is the description of the appearance of Saturn. So he says, of course, when he was an angel, he was an archangel and so bright. But of course, not all his brightness is lost, nor appeared less than archangel ruined, and the excess of glory obscured, as when the sun, he says that he is looking like a sun which is covered by the horizontal misty air, and of course by clouds, or shaded by moon, etc. In dim eclipse, disastrous twilight sheds on half of the nations, and with fear of change perplexes monarchs. So, of course, when eclipse occurs, what happens? It is the darkness. Okay. So, the bright archangel now have turned to be in the dark. Yet, it is, he says that his stature is, of course, though darkened, he is having his own stature. And darkened so yet shone above them all the archangel, but his face deep scars of thunder had entrenched. So all the not only the archangel, but all angels are also like that. But his, if you look into the face of Saturn, there are scars of thunder, and care sat on his faded cheek. Care here means worry. So, of course, after the defeat, that worry is there in his mind. But under brows of dauntless courage and considerate pride, waiting revenge. In spite of the faded courage, he gathers his courage, and that he is having that kind of courage which cannot be overtaken by anyone. Okay, and he is considerate in his pride, and no one can remove pride from his personality. And of course, even after the defeat, he is waiting for the revenge. Cruel his eye. So his eye is also very cruel, but cast signs of remorse and passion to behold the fellows of his crime. So, Saturn is the incarnation of cruelty, according to the poet. But he says, though he is like that, there appears a kind of remorse, passion to see his crew or his followers in such a bad state. The fellows of his crime. These are the fellows who were with him in his crime, that is, in the war against God in heaven. And the followers, rather, far other ones beheld in bliss. Of course, they were once the blessed creatures that are angels. Now, what happened? Condemned forever now. Now they are condemned. They are thrown away of the bliss. And now here forever to pain, to experience pain. Now they lost their bliss, and what they have is a lot in pain, to have their lot in pain, to have their position in pain. Millions of spirits for his fault, immersed of heaven, and from eternal splendors flung for his revolt. So he says there are millions of spirits, fallen angels, who followed him, and because of him, because of his revolt, they of course have fallen into this status. But in spite of this status, like Saturn, who said that his mind will be the same, even though the place is changed, heaven is changed for hell, but he says his mind will never be changing. And of course, his followers are also like that. Now, though they have changed from bliss to pain, Milton says that yet faithful. How they stood, their glory withered. So, though their glory is no more, it is withered, they are standing faithfully, as when heaven's fire hath scattered the forest oaks or mountain pines with singed top their stately growth, though bare stands on the blasted heath. See how they are standing now, is compared to the pines, which if a thunder falls on it, or if a fire takes place, oaks and pines actually, they stand bare in spite of all the greenery. So, beautiful oaks and the pines will look beautiful with their branches, green leaves, etc. But if they are burnt by thunder or forest fire, of course, even after the burning, they will be standing like that. So, the standing of all the fallen angels in losing their brightness and dark now, because they are burnt in the fire now in the hell, are like the oaks and pines that are standing in the forest, okay, stood black without any branches. He now prepared to speak. So now looking at this kind of army, he is preparing himself to speak, where at their doubled ranks they bend from wing to wing and half enclose him round with all his peers. While he is preparing for himself, they themselves are arranging themselves according to rank, and then some of them are coming to the side of Saturn, and some of them are with their peers. Attention held them mute, and they are very attentive, very silent, because they are eager to listen to their master or prince commander. Thrice he essayed, and thrice, in spite of scorn, tears such as angels weep burst forth. See, Milton is assigning human qualities, of course, angels' qualities also here. He says that thrice he tried to speak out, but he could not, because in spite of the scorn that he developed against God, tears were rolling down from his eyes. At last, words interwove with sighs found out their way. See, it is not the voice which, of course, was like a thunder when first he wanted to wake them up from the slumber, or from the shock with which they were lying down in the fiery gulf. But this is a voice that is filled with pain, okay, and of course that is his throat is getting choked and tears are rolling down to witness millions of spirits which acted only on his word and have lost their blissful seat and have entered into the miserable state which will last forever, because they are immortals. Okay, we'll continue. I think next we are going to have the fifth speech of Saturn. We'll continue in the next lecture. I hope you will listen to it, and if you have any doubts, you keep interacting. None of you are interacting, though I keep saying, repeating the same thing. Okay, after finishing the syllabus, I will plan to have a revision classes wherein you have to join at any cost to the online class and interact with the teachers. Okay, have a nice time.